I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I am your host, Richie. Big NFL trade going down today. Miami and Steelers involved. We're going to talk on it. My guy, co-host, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx is here.
Yeah, happy Monday, everybody. Let's get it.
Happy Monday. Before we go any further, Idris was asking me off air that he wanted to check out my kid's toothless mask. So, Noah, come on in. This thing's cool, bro.
Oh, man. That's pretty dope. What's that, smoke coming out of his mouth?
Yeah, man.
Oh, shoot. Yo. That's dope.
Bro,
I need one of them.
Running around with that in our era, like when the adults were sleeping and kind of sneak up on somebody, I would have terrified them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that you've been on the side of a milk carton, too, man. Yo, where'd you get that mask from, for real?
No, come back. Where'd you get that mask from?
I got it from Walmart.
For real? I gotta find that.
Make sure you adjust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he loves that movie. Like, the pre-order for the new one, normally I like to go to the movies, but he's not really into, like, crowded places, particularly in the dark. So I told him, I was like, bro, I got you on that. So I basically pre-ordered the next How to Train a Dragon movie, but Prime's going to eventually tell us when it's released.
Yeah. I need that mask, man. I'll come down there. I'm stealing it. It's mine.
All right.
I like that the smoke come out of it. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go do my show. Okay, Bubby?
I got to get one of those.
See you later, buddy. All right. Without further ado, we got a trade in the NFL here. Dolphins and Steelers making blockbuster deal. Steelers receive tight end Jonnu Smith and cornerback Jalen Ramsey in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Each team swaps their 7th-round draft picks, of course, in 2027, not 2026, 2027. I'll add that. And so Fitzpatrick goes back to where he was prior to being a Steeler.
Uh-huh.
I like this deal for the Steelers because, they did add Aaron Rodgers, and there's a good and a bad element to Aaron Rodgers. I think we both agreed that last year in the Jets situation, although the offense was rather crappy, he had a decent year. In certain metrics, he had a better year than Patrick Mahomes. He threw the same amount of touchdowns as Josh Allen as well as Jaden Daniels. So it was kind of a mixed bag on how Rodgers performed last year. But, you add a viable tight end. Jonnu Smith was a nice fantasy find for a lot of people last year. In one of my leagues, he was one of the key reasons why I won the league.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a Miami team that obviously is cap strapped. So that's part of the motivation for their move. I'll be honest with you, bro.
Yeah.
If Aaron Glenn gets anything out of the New York Jets, I think Miami could potentially be a last place team this particular year. And I don't think they're done. I have a feeling that Tyreek Hill might be dealt as well.
I'm agree with you on both. I think with Aaron Rodgers, um, by his standards, he didn't have a good year.
No.
But you put anybody up, put those numbers on anyone else, they had a pretty good year. He started off slow, but he finished pretty strong. And considering the disarray the Jets were in, you know, you couldn't expect but so much. Also, moving on with Aaron Glenn, I think they're going to be better than what people think because they wasn't really that bad last year. They needed a quarterback. Now they got Fields down there, well, up there in New York. Fields may not be great, but Fields can do a lot of things. And they got a good running back. They got a good receiver. They got a defense. Aaron Glenn's a defensive guy. He put a good offensive hit with him. They might be sneaky good.
I think the best thing for the Jets is that Garrett Wilson finally gets to reclaim his number one position because last year, when Devontae Adams came in, while Devontae put up good numbers, I think it was very
Yeah,
detrimental to the younger player. Now, Devontae's in a wonderful situation opposite Puka Nakua. He's essentially replacing Cooper Kupp with the Rams.
yeah.
But back to the trade at hand. So you bring in Jonu Smith. I
Hmm.
think naturally Fryermuth becomes the number two on the depth chart, but he's also a pretty good tight end in his own right.
Yeah,
And I think that he's going to be asked to do a little more blocking because this is a team now where you bring in DK Metcalf. He essentially replaced Pickens. Now you have two viable tight ends. Your offensive line is gradually improving, and you get Jalen Ramsey on the back end of your defense and a front line that features TJ Watt.
yeah. Look, man, people are laughing at the Steelers because they signed Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, look, you got Mike Tomlin as a coach. I mean, no matter what the team does, they win. They get winning records. So he'll keep a team on the field. They got and Rodgers and the tight, like you just said, Jones Smith and Red. With the tight ends, God, man, just like I said about the Jets, the Steelers gonna be sneaky good because no one's looking at them like, okay, you got an old Aaron Rodgers. What's he gonna do? He's got nothing to take. Look what we've seen out of the Jets last 2 years. Da 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 da. Okay, they got rid of Pickens. Da da. They bought him Metcalf, which Metcalf is a big physical player that you're not gonna push around. So they're gonna be sneaky good. And I think Aaron Rodgers is around the right coach. He's around the coach who doesn't. He's no nonsense. So we already know he's not going for the BS that Rodgers put out there. And I think Rodgers know this is it right here. This is it. You don't succeed here, or you don't lead a team. You don't lead the Steelers to something they can say, okay, we got a future. We just need another quarterback. Or Rodgers is old. This is it for you, buddy. So that's why I think the Steelers are going to be good. I think they're going to surprise people. They may make the playoffs. I don't know. I think they might miss it based on the other teams. But watch out, man. Watch out.
Well, this is the thing too. I mean, in the Mike Tomlin era, they
Yeah,
have, for the most part, had the Baltimore Ravens number, even though in recent years the Ravens have gone further into the playoffs.
yeah,
The Ravens were a Mark Andrews catch that should have been a
yeah.
catch
Should have
away
been a
from
catch.
probably advancing to the AFC title game against the Chiefs team that they actually match up rather well with. So, I mean, Baltimore clearly is a Super Bowl contender, undeniably. You have the perennial MVP candidate in Lamar Jackson. I think Zay Flowers is getting better. Derrick Henry's still a top 3 to 5 running back in the league. And even though Mark
Yeah,
Andrews, a very long offseason,
yeah,
he's still a premier tight end. They lost one of the greatest kickers in NFL history, and Justin Tucker. They had to basically release him because of the accusations. My understanding is he has a 10-game suspension, and I think that he's dead eligible to sign with a team.
yeah,
But we'll see how that plays out because we've seen temporary suspensions turn into bigger things, similar to Deshaun Watson. So we'll see how that plays out. But No, this is a good trade for the Steelers. You know, the Cincinnati Bengals, everyone knows that Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase was the story of that team last year. The biggest reason why they missed the playoffs is their defense just couldn't get anything done. So the way I
Yeah,
see it is, and the O line also, needed to be better. But it's a three-team race. I mean, the Ravens are supposed to be the favorite, and I will still give them that. But with the Steelers' success head to head with the Ravens over the years, and I gotta think that the Steelers, at minimum, give themselves a shot to get into the playoffs. And regardless, if Baltimore, say, like hypothetically, a 14-3 team, and they run into the Pittsburgh Steelers, it doesn't matter about the venue. Those teams know each other so well. Don't be surprised if a 10-win or 11-win Steeler team goes in there and ruins their day. I mean, that's essentially what you have right now. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the playoff success like people feel that he should based on the stats on the trading card, but this is the best quarterback they've had since Ben Roethlisberger, and oddly enough, Rodgers' lone Super Bowl was at the Steelers' expense.
exactly. And bringing in Jalen Ramsey, man, he might be at the tail end of his career, but the guy still has something left.
I don't think you lose that much between Minka and with Ramsey, and I love
Uh,
Fitzpatrick as a player, but I
yeah,
I, I think that with you got really two quality players here. I mean, I'm not sure if people realize just how good Jonnu Smith is. He is the first NFL player to come out of FIU, which is my sister's alma mater.
yeah.
I'm actually going to be visiting her today.
Oh,
She's
okay.
hanging out at Disney. I'm going to meet her new boyfriend, so looking forward to that.
Mhm.
But I just think it's ironic that I'm hanging out with my sister and the first player that made it from her college gets traded today. And Johnu has definitely jumped up fantasy charts because you have some of the common names like the Travis
Uh huh.
Kelce's, the Dallas Goddards, who are losing
Hmm.
fantasy value because they're aging.
Yeah,
Jonnu Smith is jumping up the boards in terms of fantasy tight ends.
yeah. He has a long way to go, and when I mean long way to go, I'm talking about in terms of retiring. He has a lot of career ahead of him. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Jonnu
I'm
Jonnu Smith is not that much of a secret anymore in terms of his
nah.
fantasy value.
Oh, hell no.
And
Yeah,
with Miami last year,
yeah,
he had a really nice season. I like this trade. I mean, even before the trade, I always figured Pittsburgh to be on the fringe of the wild card because Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season.
yeah. I agree, man. Jono, man, golly, man, watch out, man. Pittsburgh's gonna be something, man. I
Potentially.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's going
So
to be
what?
interesting. I like the deal because it kind of invites you to the table now where you can be one of those teams. And I don't think Pittsburgh has to win the North to necessarily have a successful playoffs.
I don't think so either. Detroit is definitely not Detroit. Man, I'm talking about Detroit. Baltimore is definitely the class in that division in the North. Cincinnati, I don't know about them, man. I think they may drop because they're having a lot of issues with contracts and stuff like that.
But
Um,
oddly
they,
enough, Burrow's the only
yeah,
guy in that division while playing for one of the teams in
mhm,
that division that's been to a bowl. Of course,
that's right.
Aaron Rodgers' lone Super Bowl, he was in his prime with the Green Bay Packers. But, you look at that division, you got two guys that have been to Super Bowls. Lamar, that's one of the things that is missing from his career, similar to Josh Allen. They have not made the Super Bowl yet. But
Yeah,
good day for the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you ask me. I know that
yeah,
Fitzpatrick was a fan favorite, but the two players you get in return, and you basically trade identical draft picks more or less in the same round, which is,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
be real, the round 7 is a round of pure irrelevance for the most part. So I think the Steelers did good here. I think the Dolphins, like I said, Dolphins haven't won a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken, since the year 2000.
yeah. I think with that, yeah, I got to agree with you. The sevens, the way I see seventh round draft picks are just undrafted free agents that just got lucky. So yeah, I don't think either team really lost anything. I think Pittsburgh came out better, but I don't think they lost anything. Neither team really lost anything giving up the 7.
And even hypothetically, if Fitzpatrick is
Yeah,
a little better than Ramsey, you still won the trade.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. I want to see what happens, man. Pittsburgh's gonna be interesting, man.
Other just a couple of hot takes off the top of my brain that I want to
Hmm.
share here.
Hmm.
There are two number two receivers in the NFL right now that I really think can have number one kind of statistical value seasons. T. Higgins of the Cincinnati Bengals, which was a very wise move to make sure they brought him back.
Oh yeah,
Opposite of Jamar Chase, who is number one in fantasy value right now going into the new year. I think T. Higgins is a phenomenal number two. And when you get the number two covers and you're opposite of a guy as talented as Chase, you're gonna ball out.
yeah,
And I would say
yeah.
the other guy,
Hmm.
now, albeit for a team that you really don't like, but I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt of having a really terrific year, is George Pickens opposite of CD Lamb. I think he's gonna have a huge season.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Because
so
I'm not
too.
really sure. I'm not really
Hmm.
sure if what this Dallas team's going to look like on the defensive side of the ball because they have lost some talent. They've also
Yeah.
drafted. I don't really have a very good feel of what to expect of Dallas on that side of the ball. But one thing I do believe
Hmm.
is their offense might be putting up some serious numbers. And this could be one of those years where a Dak Prescott is a great fantasy quarterback because I remember the year where he unfortunately broke his fibula against our New York Giants.
Yeah.
The same game where Zoe Carter went down.
Yeah.
Prior to that game, going into that game, he was
Oh,
leading
he
fantasy
was
in the
lighting it up.
NFL.
Yeah, yeah. He was like, I mean, all hate aside, Dak, he's like, look, let me prove to y'all that I am who I am, and I got to give it to him. That guy balled out until he got hurt. That might have been his best season had he not got hurt.
I'm not quite sure how I feel about Dallas's defense. We're going to see how that plays out because I'll be honest with you, the NFC East on the whole has the toughest tread in the schedule this year. And the
Yeah.
New York Giants are projected to finish last, even though I love what we have done with our roster. But I will say this: the Cowboys are such a hard team to figure. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if they finished second, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they finished last.
Yeah, they're gonna be tough to figure out. I mean, we know who's the class, Philly's the class. We know Washington is coming. Looking at the not the Jets, the Giants. I got teams mixed up today. Looking at the Giants, how they've done on the offseason draft, free agency, it could be tough because like last year we didn't look that bad. We just didn't have a quarterback. Dallas, with Dak, Pickens, and CD, they're going to put up the numbers. Like I say, it's the defense. Will the
The
defense be
thing
able to
that I
stop the run up
like,
the middle? Hmm.
the thing that I like about what the Giants are doing right now, and it might not translate to wins in year one because they do have a very tough schedule.
Oh yeah,
But when you get a guy like Cam Scatterbo and
man.
combine him with a Tyrone Tracy, who, in my opinion, if he would have played from week one, would have had well over 1,000 yards as a rookie. Um, you give the dynamic and the combination where you could have something comparable to when Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs shared the backfield. Of course, Scatterbo would be playing the role of the Jacobs, whereas Tracy would be playing the role of the Bradshaw. The Giants' defense, particularly their defensive front, has the ability to be a very special unit. The question is, what is their identity about offensively? What is their identity? Some Giant fans in our contingent want to see Russell Wilson. Others want to see Jameis Winston. Most
Hmm.
Giant fans agree they want Jackson Dart to sit out the whole year and soak it up from two well-respected veterans. But the way I see it is Russell Wilson deserves the first crack. Jameis will play this year as well. I mean, hell, if the team is facing Hail Mary situations, I wouldn't be surprised if Jameis is asked to come out there and rocket one to the end zone.
Yeah.
If Jackson Dart somehow outworks Jameis to become the number 2 quarterback on the team, I still think they keep Jameis just for the sheer fact that he's going to be in mentor mode in year 2, because this is a one and done for Russ.
Exactly.
But
I agree. Good.
I'm sorry. Last point.
No, you're good.
The only thing that it makes it hard for me to predict if the Giants are going to be a 4-win team, an 8-win team, if they're going to overachieve, if they're going to be dead in the middle somewhere, is that I have to see what offensively they're going to look like. We know that Malik Neighbors is a friggin' beast.
Yeah.
The question is, can guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton, who's going to benefit? Who's going to take the leap? Second-year tight end out of Penn State, Theo Johnson, is he gonna take a leap? Is the offensive line gonna stay healthy? Because truthfully, when All Pro tackle Andrew Thomas went down, that's when the wheels fell off for the Giants. And let's not forget, just a year ago, the New York Giants, midway through the season, led the NFL in sacks, and that was with a team that did not have Abdul Carter.
That's right.
I am very excited to see what, and this isn't about this year; it's about the bigger picture.
Yeah, the bigger picture, right? And get to what you said about Jackson Dart. This is Russ is a one and done. And I think if Dart gets on the field, I think regardless, I think we'll keep Winston regardless because he's that veteran presence. And golly, the team loves him. He's he's a player's guy, man. So he's the type of guy who's gonna keep Jackson Dart because he know at this point in his career, he knows, hey, I'm not gonna be a starter for someone's team. He knows that. So I think he'll push because Russ, we know what Russ is and we know what Russ can do. But as for pumping up the team and being that leader in the locker room, from what we heard in the past, he's not that type of guy. To where Jameis, we know what he is in the locker room. We know that. He's always positive. He's always upbeat. He's like, hey, let's go, rah, rah. He's all that. So I think Jackson Dart having Jameis Winston in his corner is probably the best thing he can have.
You're probably going to get the best pregame speech man since you had.
Oh my
Justin
God,
Tuck.
Yeah.
The last great Giant pregame guy was Justin Tuck. Strahan had some moments too, but it was Tuck. Tuck was the guy. That Super Bowl 46 pregame, one of the best ever.
Tuck will make you want to run through a wall, man.
Absolutely, and I'm proud.
Head first.
And I'm proud that the Giants drafted him. University of Notre Dame, one of my all-time favorite New York Giants. Keeping it on the NFL for a moment, couple of other hot takes. I think Jameson Williams, another guy who's a number 2 that could put up number 1 value. That dude, opposite of Amon-Ra St. Brown, going to have a big year as well.
Yeah.
And Trey Harris, who is Jackson Dart's former number 1 receiver at Ole Miss. He is a Charger now. I think Mike Williams is only going to be the number 2 for so long. They're having a youth movement in that quarterback room. And opposite of Lad McConkey, I think that Trey Harris has the ability to have a blow-up kind of season. And, of course, the usual guys that we know are number 2s that are viable options. Jalen Waddle, I'm not sure what the future holds for him because I don't know if Tyreek Hill's going to be on the Dolphins much longer. And, of course, your cousin's quarterback room is a very talented one. And you have Devontae Smith opposite of A.J. Brown. And Devontae Smith quietly always puts up stellar numbers.
Yeah. I agree. Man, I can't wait for football season to start,
Can
man.
you tell that I'm excited?
Me too. That's why I got tongue-tied. I can't wait for football season, man. This season.
Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, those 2 young rookie tight ends are going to make an indelible mark this year in the NFL. And I also think that Brock Bowers is going to be the number 1 tight end barring injury. Geno Smith is a bit of a gunslinger after rectifying his career and redeeming himself after that horrible experience for him as a New York Jet. And to be honest, even a New York Giant, because when you replace the legendary Eli Manning, it's just an unfair situation for all parties concerned.
Yeah.
But Geno Smith, going to be another low-key top 10 fantasy quarterback. I don't know if that's going to translate to wins for the Vegas Raiders. The Vegas Raiders surprised me that they're bringing back Max Crosby. Jacoby Myers, another guy, low-key fantasy producer. It's going to be interesting, but we're going to shift our attention to baseball for a second here. MLB notes over the weekend: the Mets falling apart, getting
Yeah.
swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Who?
Yankees win a series versus the Athletics. Not exactly impressed because the Athletics are not a very good team. That's the kind of series that I want to sweep. And getting shut out in
Yeah.
game 2 really pissed me off.
Man,
But
look here.
they all count the same, and the Yankees did win a series. Shohei Ohtani making his first appearance on the mound, reaching his top career speed. Aaron Judge, number 30 yesterday. I'll start with him. 2 homers, the win over the Athletics. You just gotta hope that the bats reawaken because as the Yankees go, the pitching, in my opinion, has been stellar all year long.
Yeah. Man, the Yankees. I don't know. You know what? Let's talk about what the Pirates did first. That was in
Okay.
tribute to Dave Parker, Rip Dave
Oh,
Parker,
yeah.
fellow fellow June 9th guy, fellow Gemini, Dave Parker, Pops Parker. Yeah. They did that for Dave. As for the Yankees, look, man, I want to get one of those torpedo bats and knock each one of them except for Judge upside the head. Where are the bats? Where are the bats? We got beat. We got our ass whooped by Anaheim. We got our ass whooped by the A's. The A's don't even have a home.
I mean, it was
What the
nice
hell's
to
going
see that
on?
they put up a huge number yesterday. But the
Yeah.
thing with the Yankees is that their offense has been so sporadic lately. It's good to
Yes.
see the captain hit 2 taters because he's been in his own kind of slump because, a couple of weeks back, he was flirting with 400 and now he's way down in the 350s, way down, like if that's something to be ashamed of. But,
Yeah.
the Mets, though, my goodness, you're talking about a rotation that just can't get out of the 5th inning.
Can't get out the fifth inning, man.
And
And
they are
and we
so
have a
gassed.
good
They are so gassed.
yes. And we have a good pitching staff, man. I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like I don't know, man. You comment.
Richard Dorney,
Yeah.
friend of the show, Mets super fan. He's going to be coming on the show on Wednesday.
Oh, word.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he texted me yesterday
Uh huh.
suggesting that Luis Severino might be going back to the Mets. But,
Really?
the timing couldn't have been any stranger
Yeah.
given the fact that he got lit up. And this was a guy who in the offseason had mentioned that all the Yankees have offensively is Aaron Judge. So, when a guy like that gets shelled going back to the Bronx, it's kind
Mhm.
of comical. And I like Luis Severino, don't get me wrong. He's a Yankee that I liked. He's a guy that even when he went to Queens, I wanted him to succeed. But I don't know what the Mets need. But I will say this, they got to get another starting pitcher. And I know my boy Dorney has been pushing the idea of Cedric Mullins to the Mets. I like that idea for them
Uh
because
huh.
you have Lindor in the leadoff spot. I would drop Mullins all the way down to 9, have speed at both ends of the lineup. But this Met team just
Yeah.
looks gassed right now. They look
It's
gassed.
crazy because they do. You know what's crazy about it? Over the last 2 years, I've been saying, don't worry, the Mets will fall apart. But it's usually I say this like towards the end of the season. But we're not even at the All Star break yet, and they look like they're done.
The one
And it's not.
blessing that the Mets have is that nobody else in the East seems to be coming for them. Obviously, the Phillies are a game and a half up right now,
Yeah.
but nobody in the East appears to be gunning for them. And the Phillies had their own share of issues with a long losing streak not that long ago. I mean, the Yankees endured a 6-game losing streak. You know, things have been going down here where, a lot of peaks and valleys in a long baseball season, I think is the best way to explain that. But one thing I must say is that I'm more concerned about the Mets than I am the Yankees for one simple reason. The
Hmm.
Yankees have guys that can give you the innings.
Yeah.
Max Fried, Carlos Rodon have both been very strong this year, and we've had seen moments of brilliance from both Will Warren as well as Clark Schmidt.
Hmm.
And it was nice to see Marcus Stroman on the mound yesterday, and I didn't really think I would be
Yeah.
saying that.
Me neither. And
This
also
is
with
a
the
guy that I got pegged to get traded.
yeah, me too. I
This
think
guy
with the
has 9 lives. He wasn't even supposed to be in the rotation.
hey, that's Strowman, man. I think with the Yankees and this is not being a homer, but when you're playing in the Bronx, when you're playing for Yankees, you play for the Pinstripes, you got to show resilience. You know, you can't go in there and just have a slump and the team just falls apart. You got to play because New York will let you, unlike with the Mets, I feel the Mets the same, but see, the Mets don't seem to have that heart like the Yankees have. Like when you put on the pinstripes, you are a totally different person. It's like
The
this is
way I
what you
look at
have
it,
to do.
Idris, is quite simple. When you give a mega money deal to Juan Soto, hang on 1 second, Idris.
You send
Uh huh.
him for a costume.
Can I finish my show?
All right. After.
Okay. Sorry. Now
Nah,
Noah's
you
asking
good?
for something that he's interested in. I said, let me just finish the show first.
Yeah.
All right. Coming outside for a moment. You know, for Florida
Yeah.
standards, it's not that terribly hot.
For North Carolina standards, it is. We're at 90.
Yeah, we were hanging with Brett yesterday for a bit.
Yeah.
And you know, not gonna lie, I slept in today, man. Brett got me some good bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah, hadn't seen Brett in a while, so it was cool having the kids play together. No, but back to the what we're saying, the matter at hand with the two New York sports teams. I feel that when you pay Juan Soto mega bucks and make him the
Yeah.
richest player in the history of the game,
Woo.
that's a kind of Shohei Otani. Now Soto's been
Yeah.
playing better now. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you cannot play second fiddle to the Yankees in the standings this year when you go out and get a Juan Soto.
Right. And you pay him the money you pay him. No, you're supposed to take over.
Not to mention
Period.
when Juan Soto was the clear and concise team MVP in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He and Giancarlo Stanton wore the hat. It wasn't Aaron
Mhm.
Judge, and you know Judge is probably my favorite ball player in today's MLB.
Same here.
Noah, his favorite guy right now is actually Ben Rice.
Oh, really? Hey, Rice is coming. Hey, I'm not hating on Rice. Rice is balling.
Well, the
I
thing that
can
I
feel
like
Rice.
about what the Yankees got going is that they don't have to rush him in. Also, want to send a
Yeah.
congrats to Yankees backup catcher JC Ascara, welcoming
Hmm.
in a child over the weekend. So good for you, JC. Congrats to your family. You know, JC
Hey,
has
hey,
had
congrats.
quite the ride. This is a guy that wasn't even pegged to even make the New York Yankees.
Hey, congrats. You know what I mean? Shouts out for
How you
real.
doing, Chanel? Good to see you on here.
Go in the building.
That show was good, by the way, Chanel. I caught the tail end of it, and I was able to kind of comb through and see the key parts of your most recent show. So good job. Check out the Casual Convo show every Wednesday, 8 to 10. Really good shows they've been putting together lately, and just a lot of excellent personalities on that show. So make sure you check them out.
Right on, right on. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Idris.
Okay.
My
Okay.
bad.
No.
No, you're on. You're on.
I forgot what I was going to say, man. That's why I stopped. Go ahead.
I'll take the blame on that. Dawn
Oh, no,
Staley.
you good.
Dawn Staley. The Knicks are flirting with the idea of making Dawn Staley the first female head coach in NBA history. Her collegiate track record speaks for itself. How do you feel that that kind of hire, if it does come to fruition, would translate to the NBA and particularly the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, where the media is merciless? Do you think that Dawn Staley can take these men to the next level?
To be honest, I think so. And I'm going to tell you why. Dawn Staley is Philly tough. And if I would have anyone outside of New York, like a Tibbs or somebody, I want someone from Philly. Because Philly got the sit. Philly, I always say Philly is New York just with green when it comes to football stuff. Philly and New York are like the identical cities. Philly's just much smaller. I think she could because she's real tough on her players. And I know women's basketball is different than men's basketball, but I look at how she handles the women on the team. Dawn Staley is a tough person. And I think if she went to the Knicks, I think that they will play for her because how tough she is and how hard nosed she is. And she's not going to go for no. She's not going to go for the. And I hope the women don't get upset when I say this. She doesn't have that feminine energy where she's going to crack under pressure. I mean, I would like someone like Mark Jackson or Mike Malone or Jason Kidd. Someone who's been there, done that. I would like somebody like that. But
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'll take it, man.
I want Don Staley ahead of the other candidates
Hmm.
because it's never been done before.
I'm with
And
that too.
and and who better than the New York Knicks to win that ever elusive third championship? They haven't had one since '73.
Oh my,
They are
hey,
the team that won the original NBA game. The first game ever played in the history of the NBA was won by the New York Knicks.
New York, man. Yep.
I mean, you know,
Richie, check
the
this out.
biggest melting pot in the
Yeah,
country, New York City. I mean,
probably
it
the
would just
world.
be a phenomenal story. And listen, I have mixed feelings about the
Yeah,
departure of Coach Tibbs. I think the Knicks
yeah.
probably should have gave him one more year. I think after seeing how tough this coaching search has been, the Knicks are probably having second thoughts. But I think Dawn Staley is built for the moment, built for the pressure, and I think she'll do a phenomenal job.
She's built for New York, man.
I
You know
tend to
what the
agree. And
thing?
when you use the term Philly tough, it
Hmm.
kind of vibes with the roster. You got a lot of Nova Cats on that team.
You got a lot. Exactly. You know what? Like the stuff you said. The first NBA game. New York is like New York. I say New York is like the melting pot of America. To be honest with you, I mean of the world actually.
No question.
She takes this New York team to the championship and win. This will be the greatest season by an NBA team. You got a woman leading a team of men to a title. You can't write a better story than that. I don't. I'm cool with giving her a shot because I followed Dawn Staley since she played college basketball, and she's always had that same mindset, that killer mindset. You are not going to push us around. We're going to push you around. She's always been that way.
And
So I'm
I
cool
don't
with that.
care about gender because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day,
Mm-hmm.
basketball is everyone's sport. And you asked the legendary Reggie Miller all the accomplishments he had in the NBA and prior to Steph Curry, the most three-pointers ever made. And he will be the first person to tell you that he wasn't even the best basketball player in his house because that would be Cheryl Miller, the legendary Cheryl
Yeah.
Miller.
Yeah.
Cheryl Miller was a different kind of person on the basketball court. You talk about killer instinct and just every facet of the game down. Cheryl Miller was all of that. And if there was a WNBA when Cheryl Miller was around, my God, she
Cheryl
could have
Miller
been
was
the
a
Michael Jordan of the league, essentially. Cheryl Miller was that damn good.
Cheryl Miller was bad. Cheryl Miller was the beast. She might have been one of the very few women I would have given a shot to make it in the NBA.
I personally
Cheryl
think
Miller was
Cheryl Miller
something.
could have played with the men, and I really mean that.
I do too.
But,
She's one of the very few.
I think in our lifetime, we may very well see a woman in the NBA, even on the player tip. But this Dawn Staley thing, if it comes to fruition, whether it's with our team or whether this happens down the road. Now, Mike Malone, I got to acknowledge the other candidates. We know what he brings. He's a former
Yeah.
NBA championship recipient as a coach, but that's not a safe thing anymore because in
No.
today's player driven league, we've seen it happen quite a few times where
Yeah.
guys who have won a title did not keep their job. I mean, look at the Lakers dynasty. They
Look at
got rid of
the
their coach and replaced him with Pat Riley, and Pat Riley made it into a dynasty.
yeah. I
We've
mean,
seen
you could
Milwaukee move on from their head coach. We saw Monty Williams as a runner-up take the Phoenix Suns. He got fired.
look at
Tom Thibodeau just now, most recently, best season in
and
25 years for the Knicks.
look at a few years ago who took the Lakers to the got them to the title. Well, I
Yeah,
mean
Vogel.
the
Vogel got
Vogel.
canned.
He got
Yeah,
canned.
it's not. It feels
Boonhauser
like
got
the only
canned.
guy in the NBA currently
Hmm.
who is immune to getting fired, and it will end when he chooses it to be. Well, the two guys, Steve
Hmm.
Kerr and Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're there until they're ready to say I'm done.
Now, Idris, I got to ask you this. Obviously,
Hmm.
KD was the big get in this NBA offseason. Do you
Yeah.
believe that the Houston Rockets are a bona fide contender where they can come at the Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota, making Julius Randle a pretty rich guy. Not that he was starving before, but nice contract for Julius Randle. Congrats to you.
Yep.
I myself wasn't sure that he was going to stay because there was
I didn't
chatter
either.
that Minnesota might have got involved with the KD situation and Randall might have been a moving part. But I'm happy that Julius is now legitimately in a new home. Of course, I have an appreciation for him because he was the first player that made people want to take the Knicks serious and have
Mm-hmm.
players come over. So I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
Julius's hard work, even though he's not a Knick anymore. And as KD goes, my question to you, Idris,
Mm-hmm.
does Houston close the gap? I mean, this is a team that was the
Oh
2
yeah,
seed that
I
got
think they do.
unceremoniously dumped in the
I think I
first
think
round
they
by the Warriors.
I think they do. And Ime Udoka, he's gonna sit down. Katie said, "Hey, you know what we're here to do." Any team with Katie, I mean, I know what happened in Phoenix, injuries, chemistry, and all that stuff. Bradley Beal couldn't stay healthy. Um, but now in Houston, KD is always going to be deadly because he has one of those shots where it's almost unblockable because he gets his arms are so long and he gets so much lift with his legs. So and he can stretch the field. He can stretch the court. He can play defense. He's not the defender he used to be, but he can still defend. On offense, he's going to be too tough to guard. And what they already, I mean, they got rid of Jalen Green, which is good because Green couldn't, he didn't show up. And they upgraded with KD. KD's going to show up in the playoffs. We know that. KD's going to show up. KD's a finisher. So I think as a 2 seed, now they have a bona fide finisher who can play both ends of the court and who's basically unstoppable on offense. Oh yeah, they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough if he can stay healthy. That's the
And
main thing. If he can
a
stay
lot of
healthy.
people are emphasizing KD's age, and of course the Suns had an off year, but 26.5 points per game, and his metrics are still good along the stat line all the way through. KD could still
Mhm.
get it done.
Yeah, on offense, I'd say his jumper. He's so tall and so long, and the long arms. His shot. The only one I've seen block his shot was Wimby, but Wimby's like 10 feet tall. You know what I mean?
And prior to that, one of the most important games of his career, probably the biggest
Mhm.
game the Nets played since the Kid era.
Yeah, the Bigfoot
Brooke Lopez
game.
of
Yeah,
all people pinned him on the glass. But truth be
on the
told,
glass. Yeah.
if the big toe
See,
wasn't on the 3-point line, Brooklyn may have very well won the NBA Finals that year.
yeah, and see, if he's out there at three, if he's shooting anything 25, 30 feet, you're not going to block his shot.
No, KD is the prototypical scorer, like him or not, and I have mixed feelings about him in terms of
Right?
career trajectory. But the bottom line is
Yeah.
he's one of the most efficient offensive players in any and all era. And even
Oh,
at
yeah.
36 years old, I believe he's 36 or 37 right now.
Yeah.
He has a couple of great seasons ahead because today's players are playing longer, and you got to account for
Hmm.
that too. Last question before we
Hmm.
get out of here, Idris. Eastern Conference.
Yep.
Dame Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, both injured,
Jason Tatum.
and of course Jason Tatum, all wearing the number 0. I'm not getting into the number thing, but my question to you
Right.
is, with
Hmm.
Indiana as well as the Boston Celtics being bona fide championship contenders, with these injuries, and now these dudes are going to miss all or most of next season, who are the teams that are going to rise to the top in the East? I have a couple of suggestions. We know the Cavaliers had a
Yeah.
phenomenal year. They were 1 seed. They're going to be there. And they had their own injury that held them back this year. New
And they
York
picked up a
Knicks,
player, too. They picked up
yes, they
somebody,
did.
too.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did. And New York Knicks, I feel, should win the Atlantic Division with no trouble this year and be
Yeah.
possibly a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah.
But this is a team that I think is going to rise to the top and make a believer out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have a very high opinion of where the Orlando Magic are going immediately.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you. I was gonna pick Detroit possibly, but with the thing going on with Malik Beasley right now, with the investigation about him gambling on
Oh yeah,
games,
no
I
gaming.
don't know
That
about
is a
Detroit.
big deal.
Yeah, Orlando could be tough. Orlando's gonna be Cause Indiana, no Tyrese Halliburton. You gotta rely on Siakam. He can't do it all by himself. Man got game.
I'm going to give Indiana the benefit of the doubt just for the fact that I think that highly of Rick Carlisle as a coach.
Yeah, I think they'll still finish in the top 5.
They
Top 5,
should,
top
just
6.
because when you really are honest about it, the back half of the Eastern Conference is not that good yet. But
Exactly.
I'm going on the record right now. Orlando and
Mm-hmm.
New York have never so much as even had a playoff series. We got cheated out of seeing that because
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing made the foolish mistake of finger roll, and I wanted to see
Trying to
Ewing
be a
and
finger
Shaq
roll.
so bad in '95.
I
Teacher
agree.
versus the
Orlando's good.
pupil.
Yeah.
Teacher
Yeah,
versus
I
the
think.
pupil.
Yeah, I think. I think the Knicks should win the Atlantic East. They should win. They should win. You come up. You're third in the. You was third this year behind Cleveland and Boston. Cleveland might be number 1 again, but the Knicks should not finish no worse than 2. Because the
I'm going to
Celtics are
go on the
basically
record
selling.
right now, and it's way too
Mm-hmm.
early to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because one of the teams I'm picking don't even have a head coach yet. New York Knicks, Orlando Magic, Eastern Conference Finals next season, and I'm going Minnesota Timberwolves and Houston Rockets.
Woo! I can't go against that.
Well, the world champions are not included
I
in my
can't go with
pick,
that.
so they could, of course.
Yeah.
But nobody's repeated in a long time, and the championship hangover is a real thing in the NBA today.
Yeah.
And with
I
all
can roll with that.
the outs of contracts and with the free agency market the way it works, it's harder and harder to repeat as champions, let alone have a dynasty. That's why what
Yeah.
Golden State did most recently, it was so special.
And Cleveland is a damn good team, but they got to prove that they can do it in the playoffs.
Yeah,
They
and
have to
until
prove
they
it.
do, they kind of got the same kind of stigma that the Houston Rockets currently have.
That's why I'm glad we got Jalen Brunson instead of Donovan Mitchell.
I
Because
tend to agree. Because the
I
cleanest
had,
product, while being a great player, I just haven't seen it in those moments.
you know why? Because see, I remember when Mitchell was in Utah. I said whenever they got to the playoffs, Utah folded with him running the point. I said but when we see Jalen Brunson, he's always attacking, always doing what he got to do. So I'm glad we got who we got, and plus he decided to take a little bit less money so we could sign people. So yeah, I say New York, Orlando, Houston, Minnesota. Those are probably the best ones because I don't see. I mean, I wasn't too impressed with OKC against Indiana, man. Because to be honest with you, if Halliburton didn't get hurt, they might have beaten uh, OKC. Cause they were balling. They was giving it to OKC. Halliburton got hurt, and that was it. So I'm not too keen because I'm not too keen on them. Congratulations, Alex Caruso. He
No,
got
they
a real
got it
ring, like
done.
he said.
They
Yeah, they
got
got
it
it done.
done. They
Yeah,
got it done. And he said he got a real one now.
yeah, I like that.
But, at the end of the day, this
Hmm.
is a team that barely did it.
Yeah,
And they were supposed to blow through the Pacers, and they did not. And I think it's a
they didn't.
testament to the guys in that locker room. And once again, it's a testament to head coach Rick Carlisle. Rick
Rick
Carlisle
Carlisle
is a phenomenal coach.
he
But
is
I
a
don't think
championship.
Boston
Yeah.
has the same survival.
Nah.
I think Boston is in a situation. I like the Anthony Simmons pickup, the trade, I should say. I like that quite a
Yeah.
bit. I think they
Yeah.
get a more versatile player than the person they sent out in Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Porzingis had to go, no
He
question
had to.
about it. He's an
He
Atlanta
couldn't
Hawk
stay
now.
healthy.
Yeah,
He
he
couldn't
had
stay
to
healthy.
go. But right
Yeah.
now, what the Celtics are doing, in addition to shedding salary, I think that they're putting themselves in a position to do something comparable to what the
Hmm.
Spurs did. I said this on my IG the other day.
Yeah.
With the San Antonio Spurs, when Robinson went down, they were able to get the Twin Towers. They were called the Twin
Uh
Towers
huh.
before the obvious tragic thing that went down.
Yeah.
Um, Robinson and Duncan together
Yep. Yep.
won 2 titles.
Yep.
And then Duncan went on to damn near win 6 like MJ. Were it not for Ray Allen and his heroics,
Yeah.
Duncan would have been 6 for 6.
He had 6 for 6.
And I'm not saying that the Celtics are going to fall all the way down, but the thing is, you don't have to have the worst record in the NBA to get the 1 pick. I mean, look at what
Right.
happened with Dallas just now. And the Dallas Mavericks, I'm
Oh my
talking about the
goodness.
West, they're going to be right in that mix too.
Oh,
If a
yeah.
healthy Kyrie comes back, joining Cooper Flag, they're going to be a problem as well.
You figure Kyrie, Cooper, Flag, AD. Oh, my goodness. Look out. Look out. But let me ask you a question before we get up out of here. The Lakers got sold.
Yes,
What do you think about LeBron, and what do you think the future holds for the Lakers?
I think it still holds mediocrity because I'm going to hit
Mm.
you with a hot take of my own. I
Yeah.
think Luka Doncic is going to be a Miami Heat player in the next couple of seasons.
I agree.
I think
Yeah.
Luka is more. I just think Luka wants Miami more than he wants LA, and LeBron can't play forever.
My opinion, I think they will go. I think that the Lakers will change. I think they'll get better, but not yet. I think once LeBron is out of there, I think the Lakers will rebuild and go back. And I agree. I don't think Luka stays there. Possibly Miami, but I know he'll go somewhere warm weather. Da
Yes,
da da da. Da. Yeah, I agree. I think Luka. I
because a
think
lot
after
of
this
people were
year,
speculating that Miami was going to jump
mhm,
on KD, but they are preparing for that offseason where Luka becomes a free agent, and I don't think Luka's in love with LA the way that
I
everybody
don't
else
think
thinks.
so. I don't either. The way he looked like he was just saying stuff to be like, yeah, I'm happy. He doesn't look happy.
Well, I mean,
He doesn't look happy.
when you get traded in the manner that he did,
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, you get to play with one of the greatest players of all time in LeBron James. It's still quite the experience, but I think for the long haul, for the bigger picture,
yeah.
I see Luca and I see Miami, and I still have a weird suspicion that before LeBron James completely calls it a career, he's gonna make one final stop in Miami as well. Now
Or Cleveland.
we know that he's for many reasons he's gonna be a Laker for the foreseeable future, but I don't know how long this man's gonna play. I have
Well,
a
his wife
feeling that
says he's ready
LeBron
for him
could
to
go all
quit.
the way to 50. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, but his wife said he's ready for him to stop. She
Yeah,
made
we'll
that
see.
clear. I
We'll
want
see.
him to
Tom
stop
Brady's
playing
wife said that
basketball.
too, though.
Yeah, he played two more seasons.
Final thing I want to say:
Mhm.
Abdul Carter will break the New York Giants sack record for a rookie. It's currently held by Aziz Ojolari.
Yeah,
Lawrence Taylor's rookie year stats weren't a thing, but he still would have been second because he had 8 in his
yeah.
rookie year, whereas Aziz had 8.5. I think Carter is going to get 10 or more sacks this year. I'm going to go on the limb and say that he's going to get anywhere between 12 and 14 sacks.
I could see that happening because golly, we got Burns, we got we got K5, we got sexy Dexy on the line.
This is
And
going to be a very versatile front
golly,
line.
man.
I cannot wait till we figure out offense because this defense is going to be legit. Anything else, Idris, you want to say on the way out?
Yeah, this may be our best our best linebacker backfield since the days of Carl Banks, LT, and Gary Jeter.
I
This might
like
be
it.
our best. This might be our best core of linebackers. Fast, agile, strong. That's all
Sideline
I
to
got to say.
sideline thing is no game with Abdul Carter. And while I have
Uh-uh.
a lot of respect for current Dallas Cowboy Micah Parsons, I think this guy has a higher ceiling than him. And the Giants made a massive mistake not drafting Micah. This is a way to rectify that.
Yeah, I agree. I
All
think he's more
right, for
athletic than than Micah though. I'm not just saying that, but I think he is.
now, what I saw him do against Notre Dame, as injured
Woo!
as he was, it's
Boy,
told me everything I needed to know about the kind of player he is.
yes, sir.
I can't wait.
That's,
I really
me
can't
too.
wait. For
Under 90
Idris,
days. Let's go.
for Idris, I am Richie. If you haven't already, please make it a point, like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Always make it a point to check out the V Mix, the Vicious Mix on live365.com.
One more
Idris
before we go.
runs
One more
that.
before we go. One more before we go. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We will have a boxing show. Third Man Boxing on Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. We will be talking boxing. I know they got Max on boxing, but we got buys on boxing. Stay tuned.
The sweet science will be taking full effect here on the show in the near future. Well, we're also going to do a GOAT show, but talking NBA.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, just really stoked about all this. Zappy and I have been speaking about doing an MLB trade deadline show as well. Just got to get coordinated, but we're going to make it happen.
Word. Hell
Have
yeah.
a great Monday, everyone. And yeah, Good show, Idris. Had a nice time here.
Oh yeah. Go Yankees! Go Don Staley. We are out.